take off and land in a fraction of the space of all other fixed-wing aircraft. Constructed of cloth, wood, and metal, powered by small gasoline engines, ultralights are most often flown as playthings for sport. But these ultralights are exceptions. They are manned by some of France's top pilots. Their mission is not recreational, but scientific. The mighty volcanoes of Indonesia attract Earth scientists from around the world. Volcanologists converge upon the peaks and calderas to investigate the volcano's complex geologic processes. French scientist Michel Halbach and his team have literally risen to the challenge, flying over volcanoes in ultralights, risking their lives to explore the inner mysteries of the most active volcanoes in the world. February 8, 1990, Kalu, a volcano on the island of Java in the South Pacific, violently explodes. Millions of tons of rock and ash were ejected from its crater, devastating the surrounding countryside. Volcanic eruptions have taken hundreds of thousands of human lives, but Kalu's recent explosion claimed only 37 victims. 2 years previously, a team of scientists led by Michel Halbach, a French geophysicist, placed a system of complex instruments in the heart of Kalu's crater. The instruments floated on a lake within Kalu's caldera. Information transmitted by the instruments to the scientists enabled them to predict Kalu's imminent eruption. They notified Indonesian authorities, who evacuated 60,000 people from the region. 2 hours after the evacuation was complete, Kalu spewed forth its deadly missiles of rocks and ash. Volcanoes in Java are visible examples of the Ring of Fire, that area in the Pacific where one of the Earth's tectonic plates slides underneath another. Along this contact line lie hundreds of active volcanoes. Michel Halbach is one of many volcanologists who are drawn to this area of the world, a hotbed of volcanic activity. Volcanologists are often the last to depart from a pre-eruptive site and among the first to return, witnessing firsthand the landscape's devastating transformation. After installing the instruments on Kalu, Michel and his team of scientists, photographers, and pilots test a revolutionary method for observing volcanoes: visual surveillance, using the sparest and most flexible of all flying machines, the ultralight. Indonesia is a nation of hundreds of islands, rich in history, culture, and mythology. Java is Indonesia's most populous island and the heart of the South Pacific's volcanic activity. At lower elevations, Java's hills are lush with rice paddies. Tropical forests cloak the slopes of its 400 volcanoes. Over the centuries, these volcanoes have covered the soil with ash, enriching the terraced fields which produce rice, the Javanese staple food. A blessing on the fields, the ash becomes a curse when released into the air by the eruption of one of Java's 137 active volcanoes. Michel Halbach has selected 6 volcanoes for aerial reconnaissance. The first will be Raoul, an active volcano nearly 11,000 feet tall. Every 20 minutes, Raoul discharges an ominous ash cloud into the atmosphere. Michel's team selects the village of Jampit in the shadow of Raoul for its first base camp. Jampit is situated on relatively level ground, facilitating construction of a primitive 500-foot runway. The ultralight pilots, Roland Marjolin and Michel Lehay, now attempt a flight into the heart of Raoul, one of the deepest calderas in the world. A crater larger than a mile in diameter is called a caldera. Calderas are formed by the collapse of the volcano's large structure during an eruption. They can be up to 10 miles in diameter and as deep as 4,000 feet. Convinced of the ultralight's reliability, the pilots return for a passenger, Wilhelm, an Indonesian government volcanologist.
And now Gunung Raung is in eruption. So you have, maybe you will see inside of the caldera. Okay. Okay, is your helmet good?
Yeah.
You feel good in your helmet?
Okay.
Okay, so you go on this seat, you put your feet there.
Sure.
Oh.
Okay. I think so.
The belt goes in case of turbulence in the sky.
Recent technological developments have greatly advanced the study of volcanoes. Sensitive instruments placed within the caldera monitor the slightest motion and heat changes, which are warning signals of imminent eruptions. The Indonesian government has had an extensive monitoring program for decades. But rarely before has any scientist seen a volcano from such a vantage point as Wilhelm.
Let's go.
This is your first flight.
Yes.
Just sit down.
This is interesting.
Do you feel all right?
Ah, right.
Tidak takut?
Ah, no.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's good idea
Yeah.
for
Survey.
survey,
Yeah, very good.
for help volcanologist
Yeah.
do his job,
Uh-huh.
because you know if we have increase of activity like
On
now now,
Yeah. Maybe they can
they can
buy for you
maybe
to make
it's
regular surveillance.
expensive maybe, but
Not too expensive.
yeah,
It's about, I don't know, 20 million juta. 20
20 million
Million
rupiah.
rupiah.
So,
Not too expensive, not like a helicopter.
Village school children, delighted by Wilhelm's return, clamor for the next ride.
oh.
Adi, a young boy of 8, is the lucky recipient of the gift of flight.
Alors, t'inquiète pas.
Clinging tightly to the pilot, Adi finally gathers the courage to raise his head and view Raung's magnificent caldera, steaming hundreds of feet below. Adi, like Wilhelm before him, safely returns from the sky. The flights the children have witnessed are as if from a myth. They query the expedition members. Now that you have flown us to the volcano, will you next take us to the moon? After several flights to test the range and maneuverability of the ultralights, scientific observation of the volcano begins. At the controls is Raoul Marjolon, one of France's premier ultralight pilots. He and Christian, the cameraman, begin filming the volcano's incessant activity. Ultralights are ideal for this specialized task. Unlike standard fixed-wing aircraft, which require a long, clear path for takeoff and landing, ultralights can utilize small meadows or cleared areas of jungle. They are highly portable and require less maintenance and fuel than a helicopter. But today, Roland's machine develops near-fatal problems. Thousands of feet above the ground, a horrifying mechanical failure. The propeller shatters. Without any means of propulsion, Roland begins the perilous descent to Jampit, gliding 12 miles over dense tropical jungle. In emergency situations, the pilot's experience can mean the difference between life and death. Roland has landed the ultralight without injury to himself or Christian. Safely back on Earth, he investigates the mechanical failure. Upon examination, he discovers that the gas tank had become loosened and hit the wooden propeller, shattering its blade. It is the most frightening experience either man has ever had. Roland transforms the aftermath of the emergency landing into an initiation for photographer Christian, bestowing upon him the title Holy Knight of Survival. Today, Raoum claimed no victims. After gathering data from Raoum, the volcanologists turned their attention to another more massive volcano, Kawah Ijen. Its diameter extends many square miles into the surrounding countryside. The volcano's tall peaks are hidden by dense cloud cover. Breaking through the clouds, the flyers catch their first glimpse of Kawah Ijen's large caldera and lake. The appealing turquoise water harbors a fatal secret. The lake is a solution of sulfuric acid, formed by gases released when the volcano last erupted 40 years ago. Along the shores of this poison lake lie deposits of pure sulfur, one of the oldest known elements. Sulfur is widely used in industry and is so important to 20th century economic progress that a country's development is often measured in terms of its annual sulfur consumption.
You can see also about color of water.
Young Javanese men, lured by the promise of fortunes, walk all night long from the nearest village to Kawah Ijen's caldera to work the sulfur deposits. Here they mine the deposits at the mouth of the Salpaterras, where gases expelled from within the volcano deposit pure elemental sulfur. Pay for this back-breaking work is based upon the amount of sulfur each man mines. A full load, which takes all day to mine and carry, will be worth about $5, a great deal of money to the Indonesian laborer. Those who take the risk of bearing even heavier loads will make $1 or $2 more. In the Bible, sulfur is referred to as brimstone, the brimstone which characterized hell. The flights over Raum and Kawa Ijen have filled the team with confidence. They now embark upon a risky and more complex reconnaissance. They will attempt to march through the jungles and climb Tambora, one of the largest Javanese volcanoes. From a base camp on Tambora's edge, a small party will descend 4,000 feet to the valley in the heart of the caldera. Here they will wait for the instrument-laden ultralights to land. The expedition is composed of 18 members, including Javanese porters. Soon it becomes apparent that the jungle's usual dryness will present problems. Water is scarce. The guides open a vine for liquid refreshment.
Ini bagus untuk minum.
The taste is less than appealing to leader Michel, who hopes to find a water source farther down the trail.
Bagus. Nah, dingin. Tidak bagus. Saya suka kain di pohon di bawah. Ya, lebih bagus. Lebih bagus. Oke.
To land on the rough surface of the caldera's floor, the ultralights must be refitted with heavier hardware. It will be the ultimate challenge for these delicate flying machines. They will fly over 20 miles of rugged jungle, ascend over 12,000 feet, and then descend the 4,000 feet to reach the bottom of Tambora. The forward party continues the jungle march. The lush overhead vegetation is the densest in Indonesia. It conceals their goal, Tambora's cloud-shrouded peak. The volcano's steep slopes impede their progress. Water is precious. Dehydration and route detours further sap the physical strength of the walkers. After 2 days marching, with little liquid, the Javanese guides discover a water tree. The sap is shared by all members of the party. An impromptu communion deep within this jungle sanctuary. The ultralights ascend on a practice flight, attempting to reach the 12,000-foot altitude of Tambora's peak.
Michel et Tambora, j'appelle Selon Petit. Est-ce que vous me recevez? À vous.
The climbers arrive at the summit, dehydrated and fatigued. A brief survey of the interior slopes of the caldera is enough to deter most of the Javanese porters. They will immediately retrace their route, returning homeward, rather than attempt the caldera's perilous descent.
To pay also for their food.
Yes.
7,500. That's it. Yeah. It's about 5 days, 7,500 for the six people.
Ça fait donc 4 jours.
They go up 3 days and then 1 day to go down and then 7,500 for food.
Okay.
That's right?
Yeah, exactly.
Donc ça fait 5 jours. Non, 4 jours.
7,5.
6 fois 4, c'est comme c'est des 24 jours. 24 jours à 75 000 jours.
37,500. 5 times 7,500.
4 days.
No, 5.
Why?
Because 3 days up
And two
and
days.
one day down, and also 7,500 is for food.
Ah, ok.
Yeah.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10. Okay? That's good? No problem.
Despite the late hour and an overwhelming sense of discouragement, a small group begins the descent to the caldera. The trek takes 5 hours. The team makes camp in the dark.
Michel ou Roland, je suis sur le 123, c'est
At
Alain, vous
dawn,
m'entendez?
the climbers radio the ultralight base camp and inform them of the porter's return and of the water and food shortage. The overland route has taken twice as long as anticipated. The expedition is now divided into 3 groups, separated by many miles and thousands of vertical feet. Logistical problems escalate at a geometric rate. The ultralights must fulfill a new mission before attempting to land on Tambora's floor. They will replenish the caldera camp with food and water. Locating the camp is no easy task for the pilots. The caldera's circumference is over 12 miles. They soon discover that violent turbulence within the caldera will make landing within its walls impossible. Instead, they drop the supplies to the camp.
water?
Yeah.
And there is other thing? Oh.
Putain, il a éclaté. Il a acheté
Il a éclaté.
complètement éclaté. Donc il n'y a rien d'autre.
Merde.
Il n'y a pas
Il n'y a
d'eau.
plus rien du tout.
Bon, il y a du riz, il y aura toujours de quoi bouffer, c'est déjà ça.
Ça sent
Pour
bon.
tout le monde, à midi.
Et celui-là.
Et puis celui-là. Écoute au poids, c'est bon.
Additional food rations are appreciated, but the water containers burst in the airdrop. Only a few useless drops remain.
Vous tente pas?
Exploration of Tambora's secrets must wait for the future. Logistical problems prove too overwhelming for the expedition to overcome.
Ok, je te reçois 5 sur 5, pas de problème.
Tu as vu ce qui s'est passé pour Roland? Il s'est fait brasser comme un malade dans les rouleaux en vous larguant le truc à toi.
Et malheureusement, l'eau a éclaté. Hein. Par contre, ce que vous avez lancé,
The
vous,
peak
c'est-à-dire
camp
le riz et l'eau,
notifies the ultralights that the expedition must fall back and regroup.
Nous, quand on est arrivé au sommet du cratère, on a vu le fond. On était encore très haut et les courroies se sont mises à patiner comme des malades puisqu'on n'avait plus aucune puissance moteur. Donc on est reparti aussi sec.
Ok, je coupe. Salut.
Radio transmissions to the caldera floor are garbled and unclear. The ultralights must fly over the volcano one last time to drop a message informing the forward party of the decision to abandon Tambora. The rain and mist that could have salvaged the reconnaissance of Tambora now gently caresses the ultralight's wings. The Javanese respect volcanoes. Their eruptions and devastation play major roles in the island's myths and traditions. For this flight, the crew has asked the ritual blessing of a local holy man. They fly to Bromo, the volcano most sacred to the Javanese. Bromo rises from a desolate, sandy plain. Only 10 years ago, the volcano erupted, showering the surrounding countryside with tephra, volcanic rocks. Soon after Bromo's recent eruption, the Javanese constructed a stairway to its very edge.
Ada keturunan dari Majapahit, yaitu namanya Nyi Roro Anteng dengan Jaka Sekar. Nyi Roro Anteng.
The shaman of Tengar regularly climbs the stairway to view the volcano. Today he recounts the legend of Bromo to the volcanologists.
Brahmana. Maka wilayah kawasan ini dinamakan.
Many generations ago, a beloved Javanese prince was buried in the volcano's heart. The ceremonies enacted at Bromo are in honor of the ancient prince who lives on in the stories of his people.
Matosah Gunung Bromo ke tempat anak-anak bermain. Lenyaplah si bungsu namanya Raden Kusuma dibawa api ke Gunung Bromo.
Volcanic eruptions have left violent scars on this holy site. Bromo's caldera is one of the largest in the world, over 6 miles in diameter. Steam rises from its fumaroles, holes in the caldera's floor, which release gases from the volcano's interior. The shaman explains that the women today are the most religious. It is they who take the time and initiative to climb to the volcano's edge for prayer and contemplation.
Benar, yaitu menjelang pagi.
When the first group to fly over Bromo returns and reports on its spectacular setting, all the team members want to view Bromo from the air. This vast, wild place exists in the heartland of the most populous island in the South Pacific. The shaman rightly believes that the volcano will erupt in its own due time, despite scientific instruments, helicopters, or ultralights. Scientists may predict, but they cannot prevent. Directly adjacent to Bromo's giant caldera lies Seymaru. Relentlessly curious, Michel decides to fly over this 12,000-foot peak. The crown of Seymaru rises dreamlike from the surrounding cloud cover. Those left behind, including the shaman of Tengar, wait patiently for Michel to return. Seymaru was a final gift from the island. Michel describes the steam eerily floating over its mushroom-shaped fumaroles. Bolstered by their successful flights over the heights of Bromo and Seymaru, the team will attempt a flight over one last volcano. For this, they must travel across the strait to the beautiful island of Bali.
Je me méfie toujours des vents légers parce qu'ils sont variables, tu vois. Là, il peut être léger, puis d'un seul coup, il prend un tout petit peu. Et puis là, c'est le moment où...
The volcano of Kinjani. At 12,165 feet, it is the highest summit in the Indonesian archipelago. Flying over its peak will present unique challenges to the pilots. The clearing where they will take off and land is very rough and very short.
La seule possibilité, c'est ce bout de piste là qu'on prend avec les voitures. Ouais. Et après, il faut tourner.
The pilots discuss their flight plans in detail. The ultralights must follow a predetermined flight path. They will need to ascend and descend quickly to avoid the adjacent fields, roads, and houses.
Ici, tu vas être dans les rouleaux de cette colline là où, tu vois, ça va être merdique. Et moi, je crois que la route est pas mal. On a été la voir avec Patrick, c'est bien.
The pilots and photographers dress in their ski suits for the ascent to the high altitudes of Kinjani's peak.
Tu as le col ici, là, tu vois. On va passer à peu près à ce niveau-là, enfin beaucoup plus haut. Et le lac qui est juste derrière, par l'échancrure du lac. Et ce qui fait qu'on pourra revenir ici éventuellement.
Bon, bah, moi je suis prêt.
Bon, bah écoute, on va se brancher là. Ça va mieux là? Bon. Voilà. Contact.
Upon reaching the summit, the flyers feast their eyes upon Sigar Arak, the crystal blue lake of the volcano. The immense caldera has filled with rainwater over the course of centuries, creating this splendid sapphire jewel in the depths of Kinjani. The reconnaissance is not successful until both ultralights have safely landed. The landing after Kinjani's overflight was nearly disastrous.
C'était très utile de devoir passer le premier à l'atterrissage quand même. Oui. Ça rebondit comme ça aussi?
Ah ouais, et puis j'ai même fait 2-3 zigzags sérieux, alors j'ai remis les gaz, quoi. Parce que j'ai vu que je pourrais pas m'arrêter avec
that heavier ultralight weight and a smaller runway demanded an abrupt ascent and descent. With the exception of the touchdown with the broken propeller, this landing was the most dangerous of the entire expedition.
Beaucoup plus chargé quand même. Mais heureusement que tu as une suspension, mon vieux.
The flights of Michel Halbach's team have proven that ultralights can provide researchers with relatively safe and inexpensive access to the hearts of active volcanoes. On-site instrumentation is routinely used to predict volcanic eruptions. Information provided by volcanologists saved thousands of lives in June of 1991 when 2 volcanoes on the Ring of Fire erupted, Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines and Mount Unzen in Japan. In a few short weeks, these volcanologists have experienced an extraordinary variety of volcanic landscapes, landscapes that exist for the rest of us only in our dreams.